Well then, a very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Dasni Athauda. Let's start off with a look at your headlines tonight.
Foreign medias report oil leak from Express Pearl vessel. Sri Lankan officials dismiss claims. Army commander says travel restrictions will be lifted on the 14th of May. Colombo District's divisional secretaries and other officers withdraw from vaccination drive. Health trade unions brace for a strike. Is Harin Fernando embroiled in controversy?
In your top story tonight, Army Commander General Shavendra Silva has said that the countrywide travel restrictions will be lifted at 4 a.m. on the 14th, as it was announced previously. He refuted claims that the travel restrictions will be extended beyond that date. Also in local news, the Ministry of Public Administration took steps to issue pensions for senior citizens today. Public Administration Secretary J.J. Ratnasiri said that the pensions have been deposited to the bank accounts of the beneficiaries.
The Army had operated bus services free of charge to transport pensioners to bank, post offices, corporate and Sanasa banks to collect their pensions. While arrangements have been made to collect the pension today and tomorrow, all state and private banks will be kept open during this period of pensioners. The police said that a special permit is not required by pensioners who leave their homes to collect the payout.
Has a new COVID-19 variant been detected in the country?
A study on COVID-19 variants that were carried out by the Sri Jayawardhanapura University's Department of Immunology and Molecular Medicine was submitted to the Health Ministry today.
ලංකාවේ පහුගිය මාසය තුල B117 කියන
Based on DNA tests, we can confirm that the B117 variant of the COVID-19 virus was detected in Sri Lanka during the last month. 80 people from various parts of the country had been detected with the new variant. The B117 variant, known as the Alpha variant, had been detected in areas such as Trincomalee, Patiklo and Habaruduwa, in addition to Colombo. This virus strain originated from the United Kingdom. We were able to confirm the presence of the Indian Delta COVID-19 variant in one infected individual. That individual is undergoing quarantine. Therefore, it won't be detected among others in the community. 2 individuals had tested positive with this variant last month and this month. They are under strict medical care. Therefore, the virus cannot be transmitted from them to the community. The Alpha B117 variant is linked to the SARS-CoV-2 variant that has been detected mainly in the country. There has been no new variants. The Alpha variant has now taken precedence over the variant detected in Sri Lanka. The Sinopharm, Sputnik and Covishield vaccines are proven to be effective against the Alpha variant. It provides immunity from it.
Sinopharm Covilo එන්නත Sputnik 5 එන්නත AstraZeneca මගින් භාවිත වෙන Covishield එන්නත මේ එන්නත් තුනම මේ කියන Alpha ප්‍රභේදයට ඉතා හොඳින් වැඩ කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රතිශක්තිය ලබා දෙනවා.
Sri Lanka recorded 2,142 new COVID-19 infections today. According to the Health Ministry's Epidemiology Unit, the total tally of COVID-19 cases has risen to 215,538. 1,811 recoveries were recorded today, bringing the total count of recoveries up to 182,238.
Controversy surrounds administration of Covishield vaccines in the country. Sri Lanka has imported 1,264,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine that has been manufactured under the brand name Covishield. The Health Ministry's Epidemiology Unit states that 925,242 vaccines had been administered as the first dose, while 354,651 vaccines had been administered as the second dose. Accordingly, 1,279,893 vaccines have been administered in the country so far. This figure is 15,893, more than the number of vaccines imported to the country. A crisis has arisen over moves that were undertaken to administer the second dose of the Covishield vaccine in Galle for those residing in other areas, and the failure to administer the second dose among relatives of healthcare personnel at the Watupitiwala Base Hospital. Recently, the Health Services Director General had written to provincial healthcare workers involved in the vaccination drive and all hospital directors, stating that all vials of the Covishield vaccine should be sent to the central storage facility of the Health Ministry's Epidemiology Unit. Accordingly, a tense situation ensued when attempts were made to transfer 22 vials of the COVID-19 vaccine from the Watupitiwala Hospital to the central storage facility. Objection had been raised, citing that the close relatives of healthcare workers had not been given the second dose, following which healthcare personnel had decided to withdraw from their duties. Our correspondent reported that the strike had been called off temporarily following a discussion held this afternoon. Gampaha District Health Services Director Dr. A.M.N. Aryaratna had informed healthcare workers on strike that the remaining vials of vaccines will be sent to the storage facility based on the Director General's instructions. The District Health Services Director had instructed to prepare a list of relatives and to send them to the Health Ministry to obtain the second dose of the Covishield vaccine. Yesterday, steps had been taken to transfer the Galle District Health Services Director and the Chief Epidemiologist, citing irregularities that had taken place when distributing the second dose of the Covishield jab. We know that when millions of vaccines are being distributed, certain isolated incidents of this nature might occur. We will study those incidents carefully and take steps to provide redress over those matters.
Meanwhile, district divisional secretaries, Grama Niladhari officers, Samurdhi officers and development officers have said that they would abstain from the country's vaccination drive. This was after the Government Medical Officers Association had objected to requests made by these officers for the list of recipients of the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Government Medical Officers Association had informed the Health Secretary that such information cannot be issued to external parties.
We don't understand why they don't agree with issuing these lists of names. There is a secret behind this. We discussed with the Divisional Director of Health Services this morning. He said that they are not in possession of the lists of those who received the first jab, despite agreeing to issue it. If we are providing services that they do not expect, we will abstain from our duties. We need to get this vaccine. We are also humans who live here. Like medical officers, we must live in this country. All Grama Niladhari officers in the Colombo district have decided to abstain from this vaccination program from today. All Samurdhi officers at the Colombo district, if we are not needed or if they deem our services inconsequential, we have no need to provide our services. We condemn the ridicule and insults they have cast on our services. We never asked them to be removed from the services. They are also a part of the fight against the pandemic. Their necessary roles have to be assigned to them. If they are assigned a role that is not suitable for them and these efforts crumble, it will lead to a problematic situation.
The National Christian Council of Sri Lanka has expressed concerns over the absence of equality and a system devoid of political favoritism in the country's vaccination drive. In a statement, the NCCSL pointed out that the country lacks a suitable designed public health response despite having a literate society and a comprehensive public health system. It called for proper governance and economic and environmental management to resolve the worsening public health crisis in Sri Lanka. The statement noted that the agriculture, plantation and fishing communities in the country are facing deteriorating livelihood conditions due to the profound failure to manage the health crisis.
Also in local news, 3 real estate properties have been chosen for investment projects under the entity named Selandiva Investments, which was set up recently.
One property chosen for an investment project under Selandiva Investments is the Water's Edge Hotel, located on a 5-acre land in Battaramulla. The land currently belongs to the Urban Development Authority. 225 acres of land, including this area, had been vested with the Urban Development Authority based on a Supreme Court order issued on the 8th of October 2008. The land, which belongs to a private owner, had been acquired by the government under the presidency of Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga for infrastructure development. A petition had then been filed with the Supreme Court challenging the decision to vest the lands spanning 225 acres with an individual named Ronnie Pires. The court had then ruled that the 225-acre land should be handed over to the Urban Development Authority. Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, who was named as a respondent in the petition, had been ordered by court to pay 3 million rupees to the government. Accordingly, the decision to vest the land housing the Water's Edge Hotel to a private entity through Selandiva Investments is questionable, given that it had been transferred to the state from the hands of a private entity. The other real estate property that would be brought under Selandiva Investments is the International Convention Centre in Kankasanture. This area had been declared a high security zone during the war. The land is located 5 kilometers away from the Palali International Airport, developed by India.
In the past, moves were afoot to construct a presidential secretariat on the land. Although this is located in our area, we don't know whether it would be acquired or used for a different purpose.
Meanwhile, Venerable L.A. Gunawansathera expressed his views on the government's activities carried out through Selandiva Investments Private Limited.
මේවා එක ආකාරයට අලෙවි කරන්න වෙන්දේසි කරන්න කාටවත් ඉඩ දෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
These cannot be placed in an auction and sold in this manner. Therefore, we request the government to kindly act according to the law. This has not been mentioned in Parliament or in any budget reports. We would like to tell the government to treat this as if it were the property of monks. We spoke against the previous government on the same issues. This is a government that came into power promising that they will not follow suit. We would like to remind the government that they promised us that they would not sell off our assets in this manner. Therefore, we would like to tell the government to act with patience and mindfulness in this situation. Do not leave the people of this country helpless after having sold off this nation.
Farmers across the island have been severely inconvenienced due to the shortage of fertilizer required for paddy cultivation. They are now pleading from the government to supply them with either organic or chemical fertilizer.
Farmers in the Madadumbura Bogahalanda area in Kandy are in dire straits with not only paddy, but land crops also at a risk of going to waste due to the lack of fertilizer.
කොම්පොස්ට් පොර ඇත්තෙත් නෑ. ඉතින් ඒක එකපාරම දැම්මට හරියන්නේ නෑ. අපි කියන්නේ අපිට නිකම් මොනවත් එපා මේ පොහොර බෙහෙත් ටික සල්ලි සාධාරණ මිලකට දෙන්න කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ.
පොර කියන්නේ පොර නෑ අපිට ගන්න. අපි තු වෙල් ගානේ ගිහලා ගම පොර ටික වරමින් අහුලාගෙන දාලා ගම ආදාක බබා ගන්න. ඉතින් මොනවා අපි මොනවා කරලා ජීවත් වෙන්නේ.
Farmers in Biandwila Kadawatha also face a similar situation with nothing to feed their crops. 35 acres of fields are at a risk of going to waste.
දැන් පොහොර දාන කාලේ පහ වෙලා මඩ පොහොර දාන්න තිබ්බේ දැන්ට මාසයකට මාසෙකමාරදී ඉස්සර මඩ පොහොර හම්බුනේත් නෑ කිසිම පොහොරක් හම්බුනේ නැහැ.
In the fields of Madagama Bibile, 76 acres of land have been harvested by now, but for farmers there is no fertilizer in sight.
තාම නැහැ.
මේ සැරේ විතරක් ගෙනා දෙන්න මේ කන්නේ කපා ගන්නත් දුන්නා නේද අපිට. ඊළඟ සැරේ අතට දාන්නවා.
A group of opposition members of the Kuliapitiya Pradeshia Sabha engaged in a silent protest in front of the Pradeshia Sabha complex this morning.
The protest was organized opposing the government's decision to relocate the professors unit of the Kuliapitiya Teaching Hospital that is affiliated to the Wayamba University. The protest was organized by a group of members of the Kuliapitiya Pradeshia Sabha. Indunil Kumarasinghe, a member of the ruling Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna, joined the protest. I did not clad myself in this manner to humiliate women. This is to express our objection. We raised our voices in the past, objecting moves to relocate it. But now the situation is such that we cannot wear men's clothing anymore. That is why I am clad in females' clothes.
Today is the 10th of June. 23 years ago to this day, Sri Lanka's television landscape was revolutionized with the birth of Sirasa TV. It not only differentiated but redefined TV viewership in Sri Lanka.
10th of June 1998. Something out of the ordinary. That was the inception of Sirasa TV. 23 years in the offing, Sirasa TV is the #1 channel in the hearts and minds of the discerning Sri Lankan viewer, bringing you local and international television shows rich in content while keeping you up to date on Sri Lanka's political direction. Sirasa TV continues to be the pioneer of reality television in the island. Through multiple reality shows including Sirasa Superstar, Dancing Star, Sirasa Kumariya and Manhunt, our channel has evolved into an exciting brand, attracting some of the best talent, hungry to pursue their dreams and challenge themselves to be a part of what has today grown to be Sri Lanka's most powerful media brand and media network. Punchi Pahemang, Pentathlon and The Debater were hits among the populace of Sri Lanka, which aimed at increasing their cognitive abilities. Sirasa Lakshapati, conducted adhering to global standards, has served as a catalyst for change within Sri Lankan society. And now, Sirasa is ready to shine the spotlight on Sri Lanka's musical talent and introduce it to the global arena with the Voice Sri Lanka. Sirasa intends to provide solace to the masses who have been restricted to their homes during these uncertain times.
Sirasa TV is Sri Lanka's unique brand of media. We commenced operations on the 10th of June 1998 and changed the landscape of television broadcasting in Sri Lanka. Innovation and disruption is at the heart of what we do, whether it is in reality programming, international franchise programs, talent search, or education programs complemented by fearless news reporting and current affairs. We have and will always be the People's Network. Our chairman, Mr. Rajmahendran's vision for success for this brand was awareness that one of our most important goals was how we would impact society at large. This manifested itself into setting standards for TV in Sri Lanka, trailblazing not only in programming and fearless news reporting, but empowering and supporting communities around the island through our many initiatives. 23 years on, and our journey doesn't end here. Many of you have been on this journey with us, and a heartfelt thank you goes out to all of you for believing in our vision and supporting our mission to make Sirasa the people's power. Growth for us is not a quantity, but a direction in which we will move to remain as the leaders in television industry in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka television නව්‍යකරණයේ පෙරගමන් කරුවා වුණේ Sirasa TV.
Sirasa TV spearheaded the revolution of Sri Lankan television. Sirasa has molded notable figures for the future. We intend to consolidate our trajectory in the future and bring you more knowledge and more joy as you sit in the comfort of your home.
වසර 23කින් කරපු අපි ඒ ගමන් මඟ තවදුරටත් ශක්තිමත්ව ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන්නට ඉදිරියේදී බලන්න.
Sirasa TV සියවසක් වැනි 23ක්.
The carcass of a leopard that had died after being trapped in a snare was recovered at the Dikua estate in Hatton today. The leopard is believed to be 4 years of age. The carcass was handed over to the Randenigala Veterinary Hospital for an autopsy when the matter was taken up in court during the day. Also in local news, parliamentarian Harin Fernando has not been under political spotlight these days. Against such a backdrop, the opposition lawmaker met with some journalists in Colombo today. Journalists questioned him on the party's political activities during the occasion.
I
was on leave for the past 1.5 months. Therefore, I cannot exactly tell whether there are any internal disputes within the party. As far as I know, there are no such disputes within the party. I don't know about that. You should direct that question to the person who did that. I think it is stupid to spread such rumors. Sajid Premadasa is still my leader, but I think we really need to find out the foolish individual who planted this unnecessary tale to stir fear.
ඔබතුමන්ලා පක්ෂය ඇතුලේ
කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් කරනවා නම් කරන්න ඉන්නේ මං එහෙම කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් වෙන්නේ
These were the remarks expressed by parliamentarians of the Samik Janabalawege. As the opposition, we don't mind the government obtaining the support of Ranil Wickremesinghe, but the issue here is different. It is about social class. President Ranasinghe Premadasa had to overcome many obstacles to become the president of this country. He had to undergo many hardships because of his social class. He was born and raised in Keselwatha and not in Colombo 7. He was not from a high-class family. With this background, certain social classes within this country don't even want to dream of Sajid Premadasa becoming the country's leader. These days, they are dreaming of ways to prevent Sajid Premadasa from becoming the leader of this country. To make this dream a reality, all these groups are working together without any reservations, and they have their deals. This is the truth behind this. All our members have the experience of working with Ranil Wickremesinghe. We all had our reasons to leave Ranil Wickremesinghe as well. Therefore, we need to point out that members of the Samik Janabalawege are not politically destitute to go and join hands with Ranil Wickremesinghe once again.
On to another headline-making story. UK's Sky News has reported that an oil slick is visible in the area surrounding the stricken Express Pearl vessel in Sri Lankan waters. But Sri Lankan officials argue that there is no oil leak from the vessel. Newsfirst had continuously raised concerns over the environmental impact that can be caused due to an oil leak or the mixing of debris from the Express Pearl vessel that caught fire in Sri Lankan waters recently. However, authorities, including the Marine Environment Protection Authority, had failed to respond to these concerns.
Is there an oil leak from the Express Pearl vessel?
It has been almost 20 days since this occurred. So far, we haven't received any report of an oil leak. Many individuals are saying that there is an oil leak, but we don't have any evidence to corroborate these claims. Yesterday, we saw foreign media reports saying that satellite imagery indicates an oil spill. I contacted the Navy and asked them to inquire into this. There are 5 vessels surrounding the wreck of the Express Pearl. We obtained data from all 5 vessels on whether there is an oil spill. All 5 vessels have responded that there is no oil spill. I went to the area yesterday as well. We could observe an oily texture just like diesel had been mixed with water. This is something that can be detected around any vessel. The harbour master and other experts said that this cannot be considered as an oil spill and that it can be found around any vessel. The National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency has dismissed a statement made by one of its senior scientists that an oil leak can be observed from the vessel. These were the views expressed by NARA's senior scientist to Newsfirst this morning.
Express Pearl.
We can observe an oil leak from the northeastern portion of the sinking vessel. By the 4th of June, we noticed an oil slick running across 3.5 kilometers. This has reduced now. Now it is at about 0.35 square kilometers. We are conducting tests to determine whether this is marine fuel or a slick caused due to the fire. We have obtained samples and are carrying out tests. UK's Sky News, citing satellite image, reported that a large oil slick could be observed surrounding the damaged Express Pearl vessel. The incident has been described as Sri Lanka's worst marine ecological disaster.
It has been reported that there has been an oil spill that has been identified from satellite, and there is no oil spill. What the satellite senses is different colored water and slight changes in the surface signature. But we know from photographs taken by the Air Force and also locally that there is no oil, but there is discoloration of the water in the vicinity of the ship, which is being moved away from the currents from the ship. And this discoloration is expected because it's like washing a container, washing a ship. That's what gives that different color. And what you are sensing from the satellite It's a different color, not oil.
Since there is a report of an oil leak and a slick, I contacted the chairperson of the Marine Environment Protection Authority. She told me that she was informed of such an incident. A team has been assigned to collect samples. She told me that she will be able to respond after these samples have been tested.
පරීක්ෂා කළා තමයි අවසාන වශයෙන් තීන්දුවක් දෙන්න වෙන්නේ කියලා.
මේ නැව අපිට හිතෙන
This situation is like when a predator has prey in its mouth, but it is still on the lookout for another. A lot of parties are interested in so-called investments in countries like ours. They want to send their waste to us. Why is that? Because those who gave permission to bring the ship into our waters were given around $1,000 million. Around $3,000 are paid for $10,000 damages, giving them a profit of $7,000. So it is obvious that those countries are very happy to send such ships into countries like ours. They were happy with the first vessel they sent our way, so they sent a second. Who brought this vessel down to Sri Lanka? The ministers of whatever ministry was involved in the process must be arrested. The company that was involved in the assessment of the vessel's contents must also be called forward. Those responsible must be punished.
පරිසර ආයතන තියෙනනේ. ඒ ආයතන මේකට මැදිහත් වෙලා කටයුතු කරන්න ඒ ඔක්කොම අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්න. මොකද මේ වගකීම්යොත්තන දඬුවම් ලබා දීම තමයි කරන්න ඕනේ.
As the Express Pearl disaster continues to bring unwanted global attention to Sri Lanka, with reports of an oil spill, serious concerns are surrounding the events that led to the disaster.
What exactly happened on the Express Pearl?
The Singapore-based common carrier Express Feeders added the China-made Express Pearl to its fleet in February 2021. Built this year and sailing under the flag of Singapore, the Express Pearl was used for cargo transport between Singapore, Colombo, India, Qatar and Dubai. On the 11th of May this year, the crew aboard the Express Pearl for the first time detected a nitric acid leak from one of the containers while en route to the Hamad port in Qatar from the port of Jebel Ali in Dubai. The Express Pearl had requested for the container to be discharged and reworked at the Hamad port. However, they were told it cannot be done due to limited personnel at the port due to the Ramazan holidays. It is reported that the Express Pearl was informed by the agents at the Hamad port to discharge the container in question at the Hazira port in Gujarat, India. The Express Pearl had reached the Hazira port on the 15th of May and requested to discharge the leaking container at the port. The agent at the Hazira port had assessed the situation after obtaining photographs and a report on the leaking container. It is reported that the agent had informed the Express Pearl and the operator that discharging the container could damage the Hazira port property. The vessel had departed the Hazira port on the 15th of May, and the captain of the Express Pearl had informed the operators about the leaking container from time to time. It is reported that the captain had informed the operator that nitric acid was leaking at a rate of 0.5 to 1 litre per hour after leaving the Hazira port. In the meantime, the Express Pearl had changed its course towards Africa and proceeded towards Colombo to avoid a storm in the Indian Ocean region. It is reported that during this time, the captain of the Express Pearl had kept the operators informed about the leaking container, noting that the rate of leakage was 0.5 litres per hour. As the vessel reached Sri Lankan waters, the agent of the operator of the Express Pearl had informed the local agent via email about the leaking container. It is reported that at around 10:37 a.m. on the 19th of May, the captain of the Express Pearl in an email to the operator of the vessel had informed the need to discharge the leaking container. This email was also copied to the local agent of the shipping company. It is also reported that the captain of the Express Pearl added the local agent of the shipping company to the chain of emails that relate to the acid leaking container on board. At 4:57 p.m. on the 19th of May, the local agent of the shipping company had responded to the email, noting that the harbour master office was closed and would communicate the matter the following morning. At around midnight, the Express Pearl had dropped anchor at the outer harbour in Colombo, and several hours later, the captain had radioed the harbour control room about smoke emitting from the deck. However, according to local authorities, the Sri Lankan harbour master was only aware of the matter at around 10:19 a.m. on the 20th of May via email. At a time when emails were sent to the local agents, the message being radioed to the Colombo harbour, was there no opportunity to minimize the damage, let alone control the situation? Sri Lanka's Criminal Investigations Department is currently conducting an investigation, and the courts are being updated on the progress of the investigations. However, what measures will be taken with regard to the Express Pearl now? It is still uncertain as to what steps Sri Lanka will take to secure compensation for the destruction caused to its marine environment. Express feeders, the operators of the Express Pearl, have appointed ITOPF and oil spill response to work alongside Sri Lankan authorities to control marine pollution. These appointments have raised serious concerns as they were not made by the Sri Lankan government. Sri Lanka's marine environment is governed and administered by the Sri Lankan agency named the Marine Environment Protection Authority, also known as MIPA. Shouldn't it technically be MIPA that should decide on the companies or organizations that are to be called in to support ongoing efforts? Yet, it appears that Sri Lanka is yet to decide on this matter. For the disaster caused by the fire and sinking of Express Pearl, by accepting the appointment of ITOPF and OSRL, the government of Sri Lanka will be presented with a situation akin to a fox guarding a henhouse. Both ITOPF and OSRL are designed to protect the interests of ship owners and energy corporations rather than the environment and the shoreline of Sri Lanka. Board members of Oil Spill Response Limited and the International Tank Owners Pollution Federation are the ship owners and insurance companies. This is a huge cause of concern for Sri Lanka, as those two bodies would work for the interests of the ship owners and companies and not in the interests of Sri Lanka, as they are appointed to this particular disaster by the owners of Express Pearl. Even at this moment, Sri Lanka's marine environment is being destroyed. Several dead turtles and other marine life, as well as debris, washed up on Sri Lankan shores today. It is Sri Lanka that will have to face the debilitating impact of this disaster for years to come, no matter who is responsible or who benefited from this disaster. Therefore, is it not the responsibility of us all to protect the sea of Sri Lanka? Myanmar's military authorities have charged deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi with corruption, the most serious charge laid against her to date.
Suu Kyi is accused of accepting cash and gold in bribes and faces up to 15 years in jail if found guilty. She faces 6 other charges relating to alleged illegal imports of walkie-talkies and inciting public unrest. The former state councillor was also arrested on the 1st of February when the military seized power in a coup. She has since been held under house arrest and little has been seen or heard from her apart from brief court appearances. A press release by the military council said Suu Kyi has accepted $600,000 in bribes and 7 pieces of gold. It also alleged that the previous civilian government, the National League for Democracy, had lost significant sums of money in land deals. Prior to this, the most serious charge filed against Suu Kyi alleged she had broken the Official Secrets Act, which carries a term of up to 14 years in jail.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Dasani Atalda, along with our interpreter tonight, Taraka Gabriel. Good night.